Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's Cheryl Verklin here from Beyond the Classroom, Milton. Welcome to our fourth Lunch and Learn series in our Growth Mindset series for kids and parents. I'm going to talk a little bit about a really cool concept today, and it's all part of the growth mindset strategy. And it's called the power of not yet. So first of all, a growth mindset, for those of you who don't know, a growth mindset is basically the idea that we can grow our brain's capacity to learn and solve problems. So the reason I'm talking about this is because this can transform how kids learn and how they feel about themselves, also how they tackle problems. So I want to talk a little bit about growth mindset in the context of the not yet. So if you've never heard those two little words used together, this is a really important concept for you to know and practice with your kids. So Carol Dweck, who's a leading researcher on growth mindset, on the whole idea of growth mindset, she's done tons of research on kids and how they grow their intelligence and their beliefs about themselves. And she talks a lot about this concept of not yet. So it's two small words that can transform how your child thinks and feels. So one cool study she actually did a study with a group of 10-year-old kids. And she sat them all down and gave them a problem to work on. All of them had the same problem. It was just slightly too hard for them. So what was considered hard for a 10-year-old. And sure enough, it was a little bit too hard for all of them to complete. But she noticed a significant difference. And this is something I've noticed over my time as well. As an educator and as a mom of 3 kids, I've worked with a lot of families and a lot of kids. And this has fascinated me for a long time, and Carol Dweck's research has finally explained this concept. So let me tell you what happened. In this study where she sat the 10-year-olds down and gave them a problem that was just a little bit out of their range of being easy to solve, there ended up being 2 distinct groups of kids. So some of them were honestly really excited about the challenge. They were thinking, man, this is going to be so cool to solve this. They dug in, they looked at it, they tried different things, and yes, they didn't get it the first time. But their feedback after was, wow, this is so fun to tackle this problem. They understood, so that first group really understood that their abilities to learn could be developed. And that is essentially a growth mindset way of looking at things. The second group of kids, as you can imagine, was totally different. They felt really stressed. Like as soon as they sat down and realized they were not immediately able to solve this problem, they got super stressed out. They got really down on themselves. They hung their heads. They were feeling like they were a failure. So they immediately knew, I can't solve this problem. I don't know what to do. Maybe they've tried a couple of things and it didn't work out. So therefore, they have failed. Those kids in their minds are thinking that their intelligence has been compromised and then they've had a failure. So what's interesting is she asked all of these kids the same question. She asked afterwards, are you just not smart enough to solve this problem? Or have you just not solved this problem yet? Do you see how those two are distinctly different? They're two of the same question, but they're quite different in how she's asked. So are you not smart enough, which is how the second group of kids was feeling, or have you just not solved it yet? If you notice the way that's worded, and even the way it feels saying it and hearing it, the idea of yet at the end of that sentence opens up hope. It opens up possibilities, and it opens up the idea that I can learn and I can solve this. So another interesting thing, just to wrap up this study, is when Carol Dweck followed up with these 10-year-olds who initially couldn't solve the problem, then eventually did solve the problem with different levels of support. The first group of kids who were really interested in this challenge and enjoyed the challenge, they said things like, I like learning from hard problems. I like to engage in these problems and figure out what I can do to make it work. So those kids had a growth mindset. Those kids with a growth mindset were able to take a hard problem, realize they couldn't solve it right off the bat, try to think of strategies on different ways of trying it. They engaged in it. They processed their failures and mistakes, and they then tried something different. So they kept going in the face of resistance. The other group of kids said, I would have rather cheated than been exposed like that. I would have rather, it would have made me feel better. They said things like, it would have made me feel better to find someone else who did worse than me. And they were really kids with a fixed mindset. So kids who really think or believed that their intelligence is fixed, no matter how hard they try, no matter what they try, no matter how many times they try and persevere, they believed that their intelligence is fixed and it's never something that can change. So obviously, you want to raise kids with a growth mindset. We want to raise kids as parents. We want our kids to be able to be resilient and keep going and engage in difficult things so that when they get older, they're not going to be afraid to tackle new things or try an idea. You know, you think about later on in life when someone wants to be an entrepreneur, you're going to fail and fail and fail and fail, but then you succeed. And you succeed with a growth mindset. So when you hear your child saying things like, I don't get this, you can train that around. Take that opportunity instead of saying, yeah, you don't get it, which you probably wouldn't say. But if you did, if you heard them saying that, you could say something like, you just haven't got it yet. Or, you know, there's no way I'm ever going to understand this. You just don't understand it yet. Yet means, guess what? You will. You will, but you got to keep going and trying and persevering and trying strategies and asking for help and working hard, and you will. So try this at home. Try the power of yet. When they call it the power of yet, it is very powerful. This is a really easy, simple tool that you can use at home when you hear your child say something like, this is too big, or this is too heavy for me. This is too heavy right now, but keep going, and guess what? You'll get it. Or this math problem is too hard for me. Well, you just haven't solved it yet. But guess what? Let's keep trying new things, and you will. And that bit of hope and that little bit of possibility is something huge that you can do as a parent for your child at home. I'm going to post a free resource related to the power of yet, and it's free for anyone. If you go to our website at www.beyondtheclassroom.ca, you can check out this resource and just download it for yourself. You can print it off, and it will be a really good reminder for you to try the power of yet, or as some people call it, the power of not yet. But I like the power of yet. And try it with your kids. I would absolutely love to know if you have tried it with your kids. What are their reactions? How does it work out? And hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.